record the seminar now. So the seminar is being recorded, okay? So the seminar is being recorded, and we'll try and make sure that all of you receive a copy of the recording after the seminar. The way we communicate is using the chat box, okay? So that's the most efficient way of communicating. We communicate using the chat box. So if all of you are comfortable with using the chat box, can you type in yes into the chat box? So if you're comfortable with using the chat box, hi Radu, thank you. Vaishya, Shan, some of you are obviously, connecting with the Zoom from your mobiles and so on. So I don't know what your names are. Joel, Shasta, excellent, good. Yeah, so all of you are very welcome, okay? So I'd like to welcome all of you to this webinar today. And like I said, my name is Neil, and we're delivering this from London, okay? So we're delivering this from London, so I'm hoping to show you a little bit of London as we go through, okay?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, hi.
Sir, shall we start the session with a short welcome address?
Yes, please take it away.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Don Bosco Arts and Science College, I invite Mr. Neil Da Costa, who is an outstanding corporate trainer with a proven track record in delivering courses to both professional accountancy students as well as various finance degree programs. He is widely regarded as being one of the best in his field with a worldwide reputation for excellence in taxation. He has strong audit and financial reporting background prior to focusing on taxation, having undertaken a wide range of taxation assignments. He is a determined and proactive individual who has demonstrated leadership ability through the management of a tutor team. He is also neuro-linguistic programming practitioner with a focus on professional training. He believes in motivating and inspiring people to achieve their full potential. I welcome once again, sir. We believe that you inspired us in some other way by the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. So thank you for that excellent welcome. I appreciate that. Once again, I I've supported Don Bosco institutions in different parts of the world. So I was very happy when I was approached by Aaron, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, to deliver this. And I was, it's a privilege for me to do this and to give you guys some inspiration, particularly those of you who may be considering a career in finance and so on. You're in an excellent college. I know I've looked at the Don Bosco College of Arts and Science, and what I'm hoping to do today is just entertain you a little bit, but also inspire you, okay, as you start your career. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at tax and life lessons from wealthy British Indians, okay? So tax and life lessons from wealthy British Indians. So is there anyone in the class who's keen on making a little bit more money, okay? Is there anyone in the class who's keen on making a little bit of money, perhaps even starting a business at some time in the future? If you are, yeah, okay, okay, great, yeah, I'll get in on that. So is there anyone in the class who's keen on doing that? Okay, so if you want to make a bit more money, perhaps start your own business, would you like to type in yes into the chat box? Yes, excellent, good. So what I'm hoping to do today is to give you some, so once again, if any of you have unmuted your mic. If you just mute that for me, that'll be great. Okay, good. Excellent. Yeah. So if any of you are planning on perhaps starting a business and so on, what I hope to do today is to give you some insights as to how you can do this by looking at some of the very wealthy British Indians. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by looking at two very successful families, and we hope to get some inspiration from them. And we'll be looking at the Hinduja brothers and the Mittal family. Okay, so the Hinduja brothers and the Mittal family. So with regard to the Hinduja brothers, the Hinduja brothers. The Hinduja brothers are these four brothers here. And with the Hinduja brothers, so I'm sorry, unfortunately, yeah, what's happening is some of you are marking up the screen, and it's nothing to worry about, but that's actually what's happening, okay? So by mistake, some of you are actually marking up the PowerPoint. That's what's happening. So I'm sorry about that. That's why you've got some annotations on the PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm just trying to admit everyone who's coming in. Okay, so with regard to the Hinduja brothers, these are the Hinduja brothers here, Sri Chand, Gopi Chand, Parakesh, and Ashok. What they've done is they've built a 16 billion worldwide conglomerate. And what these Hinduja brothers are is they're the wealthiest, the richest Indian family in the UK. Now, in terms of the Hinduja brothers, guys, the Hinduja brothers were actually born in India. Okay, so they were born in India and they've come to the UK and they've become very, very successful. So this is something that can inspire us. So what we'll be doing here is we'll be taking a look at these Hinduja brothers. Okay.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire,
Hello and welcome to DFC. I'm Naveen. This time we will start our journey in London and reach Buckingham Palace, Queen's residence. Just near the palace, we will find this 25-bedroom, $500 million house. This is the home of UK's richest non-royal family, the Hinduja family. The Hinduja business empire was started way back in 1914 by a small trader from Sindh, Seth Parmanand Hinduja. He started trading goods between India and Iran, and 5 years later, he established his first international office in Iran. And now, 100 years later, Hinduja Group has transformed into a worldwide conglomerate with presence in over 100 countries and has over 125,000 employees. So grab your popcorn as we take the journey across the world to witness the business empire of Hinduja Group. We will start our journey from North America. In Canada, the Hinduja Group owns industrial fluid manufacturing plant in Ontario, and in US, they own chemical plants in Georgia, Michigan, and Ohio. Moreover, in US, the group owns a health management company and operates one of the leading outsourcing company, Hinduja Global Solutions. HDS operates 11 delivery centers in Canada, 14 centers in US, and in Jamaica, the group has 3 business outsourcing centers with over 2,000 employees. From sandy beaches of Jamaica, let's move to South America and reach Argentina. Here, Hinduja Group's iconic brand, Gulf Oil, operates a blending plant and a fuel station. Moving ahead, Hinduja's own chemical plants in Brazil. From South America, we will move to Africa. Here, Group's heavy vehicle company, Ashok Leyland, which is the world's fourth largest bus manufacturer, has regional offices in Kenya and Ivory Coast. In Ivory Coast, the company has sold over 3,600 trucks and buses. Moreover, Ashok Leyland trucks and buses are also sold in over 11 other African countries. From Africa, we will travel to Europe and meet one of the most beautiful countries in the world, Switzerland. Here, the group owns a Swiss regulated bank, Hinduja Bank, and also partly owns the billion-dollar medical virtual reality startup MindMaze. Moving to UK, let's watch a football match. Hinduja's Gulf brand is the official partner of one of the most famous football clubs, Manchester United. Gulf is also the fastest growing fuel retailer in the UK with over 500 outlets. The group also operates three business outsourcing centers, an industrial fluid manufacturing plant, and also own a 3.4-acre bus manufacturing plant in Leeds. The Hindujas also own UK-based company Optare, one of the world's leading electric bus manufacturer. Optare electric buses are now part of London's bus route. Hindujas have also acquired Winston Churchill's Old War Office, which is planned to be converted into a five-star hotel and residential complex. Moving ahead, in Germany, the group owns a vehicle exhaust manufacturing company and also operates chemical plants in to Bangladesh. Here, the company has recently started a 37-acre vehicle assembly plant in Dhaka and is one of the highest selling bus manufacturer in the country. Finally, after the world tour, we have reached India. Here, the group owns one of India's largest private bank, IndusInd Bank, India's leading vehicle finance, NBFC, Hinduja Leyland Finance. Their IT service company, HCS, is located in 40 plus locations, while Ashok Leyland is the second largest commercial vehicle manufacturer in India and operates manufacturing plants in Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and Uttarakhand. Ashok Leyland is also the largest supplier of logistics vehicle to the Indian Army. The group also owns India's largest foundries in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and Hyderabad. Hindujas also own world's largest detonator manufacturing company, a mining company, and one of the largest lubricants company with manufacturing plants in Silvassa and a new 200 crore plant in Chennai. Moreover, the group owns one of India's largest cable broadcasting company, a 1000 megawatt coal-based power plant, a surgical hospital, solar power and wind energy projects, and holds a land bank of over 2,500 acres in India. The group is also developing a 40-acre township and IT park called Ecopolis. Not only that, the Hinduja family was also involved in financing and distribution of Bollywood films that included famous movies like Sangam and Amar Akbar Anthony. The Hinduja family has not only built a massive business conglomerate but has also established colleges, schools, charitable hospitals. They also grant scholarships to Indian students in Cambridge and provide breakfast to 71 schools in southern India. The Hinduja Foundation is currently conducting a rural development project in Maharashtra. So finally, all I can say is that the Hinduja Group has certainly transformed from a small trading business to a global business empire.
Okay, I hope that gave you a good understanding of the Hinduja business. So the question I have for you now is, can any of you tell me why you feel the Hinduja brothers have been so successful? Good, Shasta, that they're united. Excellent. Good. Yeah, okay. They're united. Excellent. Any other reasons? Any other reasons? They're very focused. Good. They have a conglomerate strategy. Excellent. Vashali. Okay. They have a conglomerate strategy. They spread their business globally. But if you think what they did is, have they focused on a specific business? Have they focused on a specific business? Yes, great business acumen, and they've diversified, great management skills. But what I want you to understand is that the reason they've managed to build this global business is because they've focused on the businesses they understand. Okay, so they started in areas like engineering, oil. Okay, they own Gulf Oil and so on. And what they've done is they've developed that. So people who buy buses, let's say you're going to buy a bus. What do you need to buy the bus? Because companies don't have enough money to buy the bus. So what do they need to buy the bus? Talk to me, everyone. Yeah, you need lease finance. Excellent, Uday. Yeah. So what we're saying is, from their core business, which is the buses and so on, engineering and so on, what they've then done is they've gone into banking. Okay. What they've then realized is, look, in order to run their businesses, they need support services. So what they've then done is they've gone into support services as well. Okay. So what they've done is they've developed a business that they understand. Okay. Now, how long do you think it's taken them to develop this business? How many years? Ages, 15 years, Kavita? No, it's taken them over 100 years to develop this. This business was started by their grandfather in about 1904, okay? And now we're in 2021. So it's developed them over 100 years. So if you're going to build a big business, yeah, so Carl, much longer than 20 years, over 100 years, okay? So it's a long-term development. So generally, guys, if someone tells you that it's possible for you to to build a big fortune or to become wealthy overnight, are you going to believe them? Are you going to believe them? If people tell you, oh, if you go with this idea, tomorrow you're going to be very rich. Are you going to be? No, absolutely correct, Joe. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Vashali. Thank you, Uday. Absolutely correct. So it takes a long time. It takes a lot of hard work in order to develop a business. Good. Shasta, there's no such thing as becoming rich overnight, okay? So that's what I hope to teach you today, okay? So there's no such thing in becoming rich overnight, okay? So don't think, you hear all this stuff about people they haven't become rich overnight. Many of them are just trying to influence you to spend your money, to take your money away, okay? So remember, even with the stock market, there are people who spend their whole lives trying to make money from the stock market, okay? So don't believe for one moment that you can become rich overnight. Good. So it takes a long time. It takes a lot of hard effort. Now, one of their main strategies with the Hinduja brothers is to treat all assets as belonging to the family instead of a single individual, okay? So what they say is, look, in common with the Indian philosophy, all the assets belong to the family except for a single individual. And because of that, what they've done is they've managed to significantly reduce their inheritance tax liability. So these are the four brothers here, and the eldest brother, his name is Sri Chand. So Sri Chand is the head of the family, and he's the one sitting down. And what he has done now is he's challenged the view. He said, look, it's not that all the assets belong to the family. He said, with regard to Hinduja Bank, he's saying that Hinduja Bank belongs to himself personally. Okay, so what he's saying here is Hinduja Bank belongs to himself personally. And what he wants to do is pass this asset over to his daughter Vinu. Okay, and this view is subject to a court case. Now, if Sri Chand is successful, okay, if Sri Chand is successful, and he's saying that the assets of the Hinduja family belong to each of the brothers individually, would this create a tax liability? Yes or no? Like, for instance, inheritance tax. Inheritance tax is charged at a rate of 40% when you die. Yes, this would create a large tax liability. Yeah, Minu, don't, just talk to me through the chat box, okay? Good. So what the rest of the brothers are doing is they're fighting this idea. So if Sri Chand is successful, then a large potential inheritance tax liability will arise when the 84-year-old dies. And the reason for this is, despite having a domicile of origin in India, so we know the Hinduja brothers were born in India, because they've been UK resident for 15 years, what happens is they're treated as deemed UK domiciled. And because they're deemed UK domiciled, they'll be subject to inheritance tax on their worldwide assets, okay? And their worldwide assets will be taxed at 40%. Now, with regard to the Hinduja brothers' business assets, the business assets will escape tax because we're allowed to claim something called business property relief. So we're allowed to claim 100% business property relief on any business assets, and any UK or European Economic Area farmland is also covered by 100% agricultural property relief. So remember, even though if they're successful, their assets will be subject to inheritance tax. With regard to the businesses, very often the businesses are going to escape tax because we're allowed to claim business property relief. And I've got this article here, and it shows you that the Hinduja brothers, for some years, have been the wealthiest people in the whole country. Okay, so you can see Sri Chand and Gopi Chand Hinduja. These are the two brothers that live in the UK. One brother lives in Switzerland, one brother lives in India, but these are the two brothers that live in the UK. They were the richest family in the UK. Now, is this an amazing... that's a good question, Joe. APR will not be available on EA assets after Brexit, okay? But APR will only be available on UK-based assets after Brexit. Okay, guys, so you can see here, Sri Chand and Gopi Chand Hinduja came to the UK. They came to the UK, and now they've become the wealthiest people in the whole country. Is that an amazing story? What do you think? Okay, considering they've come to the country, and now they've become the wealthiest people in the country. Is that amazing? If you think, yeah, absolutely. If you think yes, type in Y into the chat box, okay? So you can see this is incredible. Yeah, absolutely. Good. The other thing I'd like to show you is I'd like to show you the Hinduja main residence, okay? So I'd like to show you the Hinduja main residence. So this is the Hinduja main residence here, and the family outbid Russian oligarchs and Arab sheikhs to buy this opulent property for $150 million. Okay, so they bought it for $150 million, and it's currently worth $500 million. And because they occupied this property as their main residence, what you can see there is the value of the property has increased. From 150 to 500, the value of the property has gone up by 350 million. That 350 million capital gain is tax-free. And the reason that's tax-free is because they're occupying that as their main residence. Now, an amazing fact is that this was the main residence of King George IV when he was Prince Regent and India was the jewel in the crown. So as all of you know, India was a British colony, Okay, and when India was a British colony, King George used to live in this same house. Now, this property belongs to the Indian subjects. It belongs to the Hinduja brothers, and their neighbor is the Queen, and the Queen resides at Buckingham Palace. So that's why you can see here, my backdrop is Buckingham Palace. Okay, so the Hinduja brothers actually live near Buckingham Palace. Now, while the four brothers are very modest and they stay out of the limelight, their children enjoy the lifestyle that this great wealth brings. So with the Hinduja brothers, they're very, very low key. They stay out of the press. Okay, so you won't see the Hinduja brothers in the newspapers or anything like that. Okay, so they actually stay out of the press. Sorry. Okay, so that's the story of the Hinduja brothers. The other person we're going to look at is the Mittal family, okay? The Mittal family. And here what we're going to do is we're going to refer to Lakshmi Mittal. And Lakshmi Mittal, as you can see here, he was born in 1950. In 1950. And he studied science at St. Xavier's College in Calcutta. And he worked at his father's steel mill. So with regard to Lakshmi Mittal, once again, he joined his father's company. So remember, the father was already very wealthy. He had a large steel business. But what Lakshmi Mittal then did was he bought his own mill in Indonesia, and he spent 10 years learning how to run it. Now, as you can see here, with regard to Lakshmi Mittal, once again, he was born very wealthy. Okay, he was born very wealthy. If he wanted, he could choose to relax. Okay, he could choose to enjoy his father's money. But you can see here, he bought his own steel mill in Indonesia, and he then spent 10 years learning how to run it. So he tried to understand, he tried to learn the steel industry from the ground up onward. So he knew everything to do with it. And then his major break came when the bankrupt government steelworkers in Trinidad and Tobago, so that the government steelworkers in Trinidad and Tobago were not doing well. So he bought them and he transformed it into a profitable business. And what he then did was he followed the same principle, okay? So he then followed the same principle and buying government steelworks around the world and making them profitable. And before becoming the world's largest steel maker. So Lakshmi Mittal then became the world's largest steel maker. Now, when Mittal Steel then merged with Arcelor Steel, he acquired a 38% shareholding, and that made him the world's biggest individual as far as steel is concerned. Now, even though there's been a worldwide fall in the price of steel, which has reduced his wealth, he's still extremely wealthy. Now, in the case of Lakshmi Mittal, because he owns less than 51% in a quoted company, what this means is his shares are not eligible for business property relief. So with regard to quoted shares, you must own 51% in order for these shares to be tax-free, partially tax-free for inheritance tax. So you can see his house there. That's Lakshmi Mittal's house. With regard to his house, he's got a house in Kensington Palace Gardens, and with regard to his house, it cost him 57 million. Okay, now in terms of tax, if Mr. Mittal wants to reduce his tax, what he has to consider doing is giving away his wealth during his lifetime. And if he does that, that's called a potentially exempt transfer. And that'll be tax-free for inheritance tax as long as he then survives the gift for at least 7 years. Okay, so in order to reduce his wealth, what he has to do is he has to give his wealth away during his lifetime. And if he gives his wealth away during his lifetime, what will happen then is he will avoid inheritance tax on death. And this is what Mr. Mittal has been doing. So he's got one son and one daughter. Okay, he's got one son and one daughter. And what he's done is he's bought his son this beautiful home here, which you can see here was worth 117 million, and he bought his daughter this home here, which was worth 70 million. So he's very, very generous, and he's bought both his son and his daughter very big homes near his own. So he's already passing his wealth to the next generation. And in terms of these properties were funded from income earned. Okay, so they were funded from income earned, not capital. And by doing this, he's then been able to avoid both capital gains tax and inheritance tax. Now, the other thing he's done is he's invested or he's bought a yacht, and his yacht cost 125 million. Now, with regard to a yacht, this is referred to as a wasting asset for capital gains tax. And because it's a wasting asset, it's exempt from capital gains tax. Okay. Now, can any of you guys tell me how Mr. Mittal has become so successful? Can any of you guys tell me that? Hard work, very good. Yeah, Kavita, hard work. And what you can see is he spent time learning the business. Okay, smart work, absolutely. So is education important, guys? Is education important to be successful? So you learned the business. Yeah, very good. Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. So what we can see is education is very important. Yeah, excellent. So he bought government-run factories and then he made them efficient. But what you can see is he's focused on the industry that he understands. Very good, Shasta. He made informed decisions. He made informed decisions. Okay. And by him making these informed decisions, what he's managed to do then is he understands the fundamentals. Thank you. So that's a very good point from Aaron. He understands the fundamentals before starting the fully fledged business. So if any of you are planning on setting up your own business, it's a good idea to study the business very well. And Joe said, yeah, he had a very good tax advisor as well. Yeah, so you can see he had a very good tax advisor. So getting the right advice is very, very important. Okay. So if you're planning on starting a business, you must study the business carefully. So what you can see here is what Mr. Mittal did was, he spent 10 years learning how to run a steel company. Okay. So he spent 10 years learning how to run a steel company before moving on to the next bit. So while he took risks, I would say that these were very calculated risks. Okay, so they were while he did take risks, I would say these were very calculated risks. Okay, so so with regard to both those two individuals, I would say those two are both inspirational stories for us. Okay, so are all of you feeling somewhat inspired now? Okay, so are all of you feeling inspired? Sorry. So the other thing I'd like to show you here is that, do any of you know what the, do any of you know who has spent the most money on a wedding in the UK? Okay. Do any of you know who spent the most money on a wedding in the UK? The Mittal family, absolutely. So actually, when Venetia Mittal and Amit Bhatia got married, they actually spent 46 million on their wedding. Okay, so they actually spent 46 million on their wedding. And once again, this was a gift from the father, so this was tax-free for inheritance tax. So many people think that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding was the most expensive wedding, but it wasn't. The Mittal family actually spent more money on the wedding compared to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Okay. So you can see even Prince William's wedding cost 26 million. Okay, so Prince William's wedding cost 26 million, further down the list, we've got people like Justin Timberlake, okay? And someone else I want to show you here is someone that some of you may know, Priyanka Chopra, okay? Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas, their wedding cost 2.3 million. So the interesting thing, like I said, is that so interestingly, the Mittal wedding actually was the most expensive wedding in the UK, okay? So are all of you feeling inspired? Aaron has given us some interesting points here. So wedding gifts are exempt from taxes under Section 56. Thank you for that, Aaron. Thank you for that. Yeah, so you can see one of the things that many Indian families like doing is they like spending a lot of money on a wedding. And with regard to these wealthy families here, that's exactly what they've done. Okay. Okay, any questions? Any questions so far before we go on to the next bit? Any questions? No, good. Sorry about this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're now going to look at some ethical lessons, okay, from Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi. So in the case of Vijay Mallya, have all of you heard of Vijay Mallya? Has anyone here heard of Vijay Mallya? Do any of you know what airline Vijay Mallya built up? So Cal, you've not heard of him? Yes, Uday Vishali, good, Kingfisher. Yeah, so this is the person who built up the Kingfisher airline, okay? So he built up the Kingfisher airline. And what happened with Vijay Mallya is that he inherited this brewery business from his father. And what he then did was he made Kingfisher a global brand, okay? So he made Kingfisher a global brand, and he was called the Richard Branson of India because he built this amazing empire. In the UK, he owned a castle and he bought a mansion in Turin, Hertfordshire, from Lewis Hamilton's father. So the Formula One champion, Lewis Hamilton's father had a beautiful mansion, and Vijay Mallya bought the mansion. And he also set up Force India Formula One team, putting India on the world map. But what's happened with Victor Mallya here is he's being pursued by the Indian government over a 1 billion debt and allegations that he enjoyed an opulent lifestyle while not paying his employees. So what I'd like to do now is take a look at what happened to him, okay? So you can see here in terms of Vijay Mallya, he was friends with many Bollywood stars, and what he did is he transferred lots of his assets to his children despite declaring bankruptcy. So what he said is, look, I'm bankrupt. I don't have any money to pay the Kingfisher debts. But at the same time, what it's alleged that he did was he transferred lots of assets to his children and he fought extradition to India. And he's said to have transferred 40 billion to his son, Siddharth, who is an actor, okay? Now, what the British courts have done is they've ordered him to sell his yacht. So he had a yacht in his own name. And what he then did was he put the yacht into Force India's name. So what they've said here is because he's still benefiting from the yacht, they've ordered him to sell the yacht in order to pay back his debts. Now, in terms of Vijay, he's agreed to pay back all the money as long as he's not put in jail. So he's still in the UK, but he's finally lost his court case and he'll be extradited to India on condition that he'll be treated fairly. So what he said is he's frightened to go to India in case he's going to be thrown in jail. There may be an invasion of human rights and so on, but this is what he's concerned about. So he's still currently in the UK. So the question I have for you then is, can any of you tell me what Vijay Mallya did wrong in order to make him end up in this position? So what did Vijay Mallya do wrong? Because he was very successful. He was a billionaire. Excellent. Yeah, Shasta said he did not pay his employees. So what he did was, rather than taking responsibility for paying his employees, what he did was he declared bankruptcy and he still enjoyed a very good lifestyle. Okay. So the question is here, that's a very good point. So is Vijay Mallya responsible for the business loss by Kingfisher? Is the business entity concept not applicable? So that's a very good point, Aaron. So this is exactly what Vijay Mallya is arguing, okay? So what Vijay Mallya is arguing, he's saying, look, I am not responsible if my company makes a loss, okay? He said, Kingfisher Airlines did not have enough money to pay its debts, and I am not responsible for this. So this is exactly the point that Vijay Mallya is making, okay? He's saying he did not do anything wrong, okay? So he's saying, look, I didn't do anything wrong. And what he did is he did not want to be responsible for this. Yeah, absolutely great. So the point I'm trying to make to you here is Vijay Mallya may not have done anything illegal, okay? But did he act in an ethical way? So did he act in an ethical way? No, okay? So this is what I'm trying to show you today, okay? So what you can see here with Vijay Mallya, he may not have broken the law, but he did not behave in an ethical manner, okay? So in terms of ethics, what we're trying to say here is that you always have to think what the right thing is to do. So is there a difference between what is legal and what is right? Is there a difference between what is legal and what is right? Yes or no? Yes, good, okay? So the problem with Vijay Mallya is that he was enjoying this very opulent lifestyle, as you can see here with all these Bollywood stars, while he was not paying his employees, okay? And this is what caused a lot of this trouble for Victor Mallya, for Vijay Mallya. And as a result of this, like I said, what the Indian government want to do is they want to extradite him to India. And what they want him to do is they want him to face trial there, okay? And what he's concerned about is that if he is extradited to India, he's concerned that he may not get a free, a fair trial, okay? Yeah, absolutely correct. So what we're trying to say here is that it's very important to consider doing the right thing, okay? So rather than always following the law, we also have to consider doing the right thing. Okay, another person we're going to talk about is Nirav Modi. And Nirav Modi is called the Diamond King, okay? So he's called the Diamond King. Yeah, he's a diamond merchant. Thank you, Kavita, yeah? So he's a diamond merchant. Thank you for that. And in the case of Nirav Modi, So Nirav Modi he was called the Diamond King of India. And what he did was he built a worldwide diamond empire, which stretched from New York's Madison Avenue to London's Bond Street. And in the US, he owned both the US Samuel's jewelry stores and the 480 Nakshatra outlets in India. Have any of you heard of these Nakshatra outlets? Have any of you seen these in Chennai? Yes, Mahesh has seen them. Thank you for that, Mahesh. I've never been to Chennai, which is why I'm asking for your help, guys. Good, excellent. So, he owned all these stores. I don't know whether any of you have heard of the legendary Kohinoor diamond. Have you heard of the legendary Kohinoor diamond? But this is basically one of the largest diamonds in the world. And this diamond actually came from India, and it's currently part of the British crown jewels. And in the case of Nirav Modi, he was the jeweler to the stars. But but the actual truth of the matter is it's alleged that his empire was built on a scam. Okay, so his empire was built on a scam. So the question is, how did he actually do this then? Okay, so if it was built on a scam, how did he actually do this? Well, there's actually an excellent documentary, guys. So I'll send you the link for that on Netflix. Do any of you like watching Netflix? Does anyone like watching Netflix? Mahesh, yes, good. Anyone else apart from Mahesh? Carol, yes. Radu, good. Yes, Aya loves Netflix. Okay, so in fact, all of you guys love Netflix. You would like to watch Netflix instead of perhaps studying for your exams. Okay, but the good news is on Netflix there's this great program, guys, and it features all this stuff. So there's a lot to learn from that. Yeah. So I'll give you the YouTube link. You can watch that in your own time. So according to Netflix, what he did was he embezzled 4 billion. Okay, so he embezzled 4 billion from the Punjab National Bank by manufacturing fake transactions through 20 shell companies. Okay, so he created 20 shell companies, and what these companies used to do is they used to sell diamonds from one company to another, and each time they sold the diamonds, they used to sell it at a higher price. Okay, and by doing this, he was able to create a lot of sales, a lot of revenue, and a lot of fake profit. And he used that fake profit to borrow money from this Punjab National Bank. And he used this to create the appearance of legitimate transactions. Okay, so that's what Nirav Modi did. Based on these fake letters of undertaking from one bank branch, Modi borrowed money from another branch. So he had a friend, if you like, in one branch of this Punjab National Bank. And he used to give him these letters of undertaking. And then he used to use those letters of undertaking to borrow money from another branch. And the alleged scam lasted 7 years and was only discovered when the bank employee retired. Now, Modi hid in the UK. So the reason we're talking about, Malia and Modi is both these people hid in the UK. So Modi hid in the UK under false name, and he was discovered by a TV reporter. Now, once again, the UK's human rights, in the UK, we've got very strong human rights courts, and they've made the UK a popular destination for people accused of fraud or tax evasion. And what has happened to Modi is he's now lost his case, and he's already been extradited to India. And he's hired one of the best Indian lawyers, a lawyer called Vijay Agarwal, to defend him. But he's currently in an Indian jail waiting the trial. Okay. So what I'm trying to show you here is that what we have to learn from all these billionaires is some of them will inspire us, but for others, we also need to learn ethical lessons. Okay. So, so that's what we're trying to do. So based on that, what can we learn from these billionaires that we've looked at today? Well, I would say the first thing we can learn is that hard work gives you success. Okay, so if you're looking to become successful in life, you have to be prepared to work hard. That's the first thing. Secondly, you can achieve what you want in life. So you've seen here, that's why I've got the backdrop as Buckingham Palace. You've seen with the Hinduja brothers, they came to the UK from India, and now they've become, for some years, they were the wealthiest family in the whole country. And my message to all of you today, particularly all of you at Don Bosco's College in Chennai, is to make the most of the opportunities you have. Okay, so make the most of the opportunities you have. Try and ask your teachers for guidance, and try and become the best you can be in life. From all these billionaires, I would say one thing we've learned is invest in property. Okay, so that's what they've all done. So if you get a chance, try and buy your own property in which you live in. That's one thing we can pick up from all these wealthy people. Finally, rather than being like Vijay Mallya, if you think, his father had this big brewery business and so on, what he did was he sold that. He went into Kingfisher. He went into Formula One racing. Try and stick to the business you know. If you stick to the business you know, you're more likely to be successful. And you have to be happy with what you have in life, because everything is temporary. So when we die, guys, okay, when we die, when we leave this world, can we take the money that we've made to the next world? Can we take the money that we've made? Yes or no? No, of course not. So we're just here for a short period of time. So remember, it's not possible. It doesn't matter how much money you have, okay? Remember, when we leave, whether you're a billionaire or you don't have any money, we're all going to leave this world without anything. So everything we have in life is temporary. So you must make sure you're happy and with what you have, okay? Make sure you're happy. And if we think of what, Don Bosco did, the important thing what Don Bosco did was he made ethics. He teaches us to make ethics and honesty the cornerstone of our personality, okay? So despite the fact that we're working hard, you have to build your success on ethics and honesty, and consider helping others instead of being selfish. Okay, so once you have enough for yourself, it's a good idea to try and consider helping other people as well. And I would recommend that when you borrow money, when you borrow, don't borrow what you cannot pay back. Okay, so when you borrow money, make sure you can pay it back. Never trust anyone that calls themselves a king. Okay, so never trust anyone that call themselves a king. You can see Vijay Mallya called himself the king of the good times. Modi called himself the king, the diamond king. Okay, so I'd say always be a bit suspicious about trusting anyone that calls themselves a king. And finally, always get good advice. Okay, so are all of you ready now for a little quiz? Is everyone ready for a little quiz? Yes, good. Yeah, excellent. Good, good, good. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some of you are talking about Don Bosco. He was a saint, absolutely. So those of you who don't know about him, you know, he was a saint and a really excellent man, but he can teach us a lot as to how we can behave. Okay, so good. So what we're going to do now is we're all going to do a quiz, and I'm going to make the quiz nice and easy, guys. So it's not going to be too difficult. And the other thing about the quiz is your responses are anonymous. Okay, so remember, we're just having a quiz to just to join in, okay? And so we're not going to know what your answer is, okay? So I'm going to launch the quiz now, and you'll find this coming up on your screen. So if we look at the first question there, what is the most important factor in becoming rich? What do you think, guys? Hard work, education, focusing on the business you understand, access to finance, or all of the above? What do you think? Ah, excellent. Very, very good. Excellent. That was yeah, I would say good. So some of you, yeah, some of you are saying good. So I want to see all of you responding, guys. Good. So many of you think access to finance. Access to finance is very important, okay? So that's why I'm saying if you consider a career in finance, this is something that will always be in demand. Hard work, excellent, yes. So hard work is very important as well. Anyone else? Anyone else? Yeah, hard work, some more hard works. Come on, guys, I want everyone to respond, okay? Okay, yes, yes. So I would say yes. So once again, hard work is important. Education, some of you, no one has voted for education. Focus on the business you understand. Yeah, one person said that. Access to finance, good. But most of you said all of the above. And I think I would agree that all of the above is the correct answer. So you need hard work, you need education, you should focus on the business you understand, and you also need access to finance, okay? So all these factors are important. When you build a business, what should you do? Should you spend the money you make, or should you make sacrifices now or invest in your business? Okay, so one of you said that when you have a business, you should immediately spend the money you make. Don't do that, guys. Okay, so when you have a business, what you have to do is make sacrifices now. Okay, you make sacrifices now and you invest in building the business. That's very important. Okay, so you can see all these people we've talked about today. Well, you know, considering the Hindujas, the Mittal family, they've spent many, many years building their businesses, and that's why they've become successful. Okay, and now in life, what is more important to make you happy, guys? Is it spending money to impress others, like, you know, going onto Instagram, posing with a beautiful car or something like that, or using your money to help family and those less fortunate? So remember, guys, in order to be happy, okay, in order to be happy, don't try and use your money to impress others. I know some of you are very young at the moment. What's more important is to use your money to help your family and those less fortunate. Okay, so that's what I recommend you do. Okay, so yes, it's important to enjoy the fruits of your hard work, but don't forget to help others as well. Okay, now I've got a technical question for you guys. Okay, for inheritance tax purposes, Indians are treated as UK domiciled if they've lived in the UK for at least how many years? Okay, so 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years. Okay, so 4 of you said 5 years, 3 of you said 10 years, 14 of you said 15 years, and 1 said 20 years. So this is a point I covered in today. Okay, so this is a point I covered today. Yes, very good. Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Jaya, as well. Absolutely, it's 15 years. I've taught you a little bit about tax today. So like I said, in the UK here, we have a large population from India. And what happens to people who are Indian nationals, even if they have an Indian passport and so on, once they've lived in the UK for 15 years, they're treated as UK domiciled. Okay, and they're subject to tax on their worldwide income or their worldwide assets. And the last question I had there was, have you enjoyed today's seminar? And I'm happy to see that all of you did enjoy today's seminar. Okay. So yeah, so I hope, we've had a little bit of fun, and, what I've tried to do today is teach you, is inspire you to be the best you can be. I like to wish all of you the very best of success in your studies and in the future. What I've done as well is I've tried to show you that, ethics and honesty is very important. You can see at times these business people who've not put ethics and honesty as the cornerstone of their life, they've run into problems later. Okay, so I've enjoyed meeting you. Okay, it's been a pleasure meeting you, and I'd like to thank Aaron once again for contacting me to deliver this seminar. It's been great meeting all of you in Chennai. And yeah, so Aaron, is that you now? So great, yeah. If I can try and get Aaron up there. Okay, do we have anyone from Don Bosco's who's going to finish off?
So may I propose you to
Hello, sorry. Sorry, I don't think your internet connection is very good. Okay, not to worry. Anant? Okay. Can you talk or not? Yeah, sorry, yeah, your internet connection may not be very good. Okay, guys, so not to worry. So it's been a pleasure meeting you. Like I said, I am going to I have a recording of today's seminar, and I'm going to try and make sure that all of you get it. Okay. Any questions before we finish off? Redmi and Dilip, did you have any questions?
So can I propose the vote of thanks?
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. Hello? Sorry about that, guys. I was
Good
trying
afternoon to everyone.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, sir, now?
Yes.
Good afternoon to everyone. Myself, Dimple, Assistant Professor with Department of Commerce CS, I would like to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. My heart filled with gratitude and respect for our speaker, Mr. Neil Da Costa, sparing his valuable time for us to grace and enlighten us with this commendable talk on the subject, clearing the concept and enhancing our understanding pertaining to tax of rich and famous Indian family in UK. He has took the session with more lively and interactive, so we ensure that our students utilize their opportunity wisely. I wanted to mention that Sir immediately accepted our proposal. He was so willing to contribute his knowledge to our Don Bosco Arts and Science College. We are happy to join hands with you, sir, and looking forward to work with you more. On behalf
Excellent.
of
Yes.
Department of Commerce, Don Bosco Arts and Science College, faculties and participants, we would like to express our gratitude, sir.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah.
I would like to acknowledge and thank all the supporters from our principal, Dr. Sister Josephine Anto, Secretary, Father Rajkumar, Vice Principal and Administrator, Father David Murray Silvans, the convener and the Department of Commerce, the head of the department, Professor Arun sir, and all the faculties, Department of Commerce. Finally, I would like to thank all the participants who are extremely cooperative and have made this session a success one. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone. A lovely meeting all of you. And I'd like to wish you all the best in the future. And I hope all of you have a great weekend. Okay. So I hope one day, with the grace of God, I'll get to visit Chennai and I can come and see some of you in person. Okay. If not, perhaps we'll meet each other in the UK, in London. Great. Okay. All the best, guys. Take care.